Welcome to Technocraft Academy. My name is Timson. Going forward in our CSS class, I think this is the third lesson in our CSS. Today we're going to be starting off with combining selector. So before then, let's try to create our folders and navigate or route to Visual Studio Code, that is VS Code. So that said, let's do some settings or configurations on our command prompt. So if you're on Windows, come to command prompt, just search through this. You see this search bar here. Just type in command prompt. It will be listed amongst the drop down that you see. Just click on it. You don't need to run as administrator. Just click open. Then if your Mac, at the top right corner of your Windows, of your view of your screen size or your screen per se, you can just click on terminal. You'll see a search bar there. Just type in terminal, and of course it should route it. And if you're on mobile, just follow through with the process you've been the method you've been using or you've been applying ab initio. Thank you for that. So right now I'm going to be seeding into desktop. I understand that so some person's desktop might not work for you for reasons I'm yet to understand, but that just make sure you have documents. You can just see the documents, right? Like CD documents, you understand. It will of course take you to document, but I'm gonna be sitting into my desktop, and from my desktop environment I'm going to make a directory. I can call my directory, say CSS say lesson CSS third lecture. Let me see, CSS third lecture. Let me say third lecture. Okay, so I'm going to cd into my CSS third lecture folder. Third lecture folder. So cding into it will take me to that environment. So I will just type in code space dot enter. So this will take me to VS Code directory with directly, without having to go through the rigorous process of graphical user interface method of creating a folder, dragging in and dropping it in VS Code, or going to VS Code to do all sort of settings that may seem confusing or that may seem rigorous to myself or to any other. And this even spelled, being a programmer, I think it is best it is best for you to make use of your command line interface rather than making use of GUI. It makes you a better programmer, and it strengthens your typing skills, you understand. So that said, I'm going to be creating a folder. I've created a folder automatically by virtue of me making a directory in the command line. So right here I'm going to be creating some files, or two files per se. The first file is going to be the index.html. You can call yours anything you deem fit, but I'm going to be calling mine index.html. Just make sure you have your HTML extension file. You add it to whatsoever thing you want to name your HTML file. So the extension file is what is important, but of course you have to follow some naming convention. But mine will be index.html. If you love that, you can also join me in naming your file the same way I've just done in the same way I've just named my file. So index.html, I've created that. I'm going to create another file, say index.css. You can name your style.css, whatever .css. And I think I need a note. I need a text file too. So I'm going to create a text file and say notes .txt, you understand, so as for me to be able to explain some stuff that I may not be able to, or some stuff that warrant me to write out. So let me zoom out a bit. Okay, I think this is fair enough. So let me create a word wrap. The word wrap will make my my content, whatsoever thing I'm writing, it will make all my content to go in a new line when it is necessary to. I think, yeah, I think this is cool now. So like I said, today we're gonna be combining selectors. So what are ways to combine selectors? There are different ways to combine selector, one of which is what is called group. You understand? Group. And group has this syntax. This is the syntax of group. Selector. Let's say we have a selector here. We have a selector, and comma, we have another selector. This is group selector. This is the syntax for group selector. So let's now say color, and let's say blue. Let's say blue. You understand? So what this means is, this we give blue color to all the selector needed to apply this style to. What are selectors? Remember from the last class or from the previous classes in CSS, I told you that selectors are what you are selecting for target, what you are selecting for styling. You understand? It could be any element. It could be your element. It could be your ID. It could be your class. It could be it could be anything. You know, your ID, your class is as a result of your attributes. You understand? You know, and remember, attributes, what it does is to modify. Attribute modifies the behavior of your element. You understand? So that is that about selector. So I don't think you should be scratching your head on what a selector is. So selector is just what you are selecting for, or whatsoever element or attribute or class or ID you are targeting for styling. You understand? So that is selector. So by combining selector using a group method, you are going to follow the syntax. Look at the syntax. It is very important. Look at, you have one selector here, you have a comma separating the second selector. You understand? So you have them together. So what this will do is, like I said, it will give blue color to all the selector needed to apply the style to. So another way of combining selector is called child. You have the child. So what the syntax for child is, let me first of all explain. Let me give the syntax first. The syntax for child is, say, selector. You have selector. You have a greater than sign. You have another selector. You have another selector. The first one we have a comma, which is for group. We have a comma. Then this one we have a squiggly bracket. We punch enter. Let's say we want to give color. Let's say we want to give red. So you understand? So what this will do is, this is when it is used, is basically, it is used when you need to select a child of another. You understand? So in order to style the child of another, you have to reference you have to reference the parent. Now here, which one is the parent? This is the parent. This first one is the parent, and this one is what is the child. You understand? Let's say, for example, we have a div, and that div is a parent div, and we have another div which is a child div. You understand? So in order to style the child div, we have to use the greater than sign, which is this. Sorry, which is the greater than sign there between the parent and the child selector. So note that it has to be the direct descendant of the child. You understand? That is the direct descendant. It has to be the descendant, the direct child, and not the grandchild. So if you have any other div, that is nested in the child div, you won't make use of that. You understand? It deals directly with the what, with the first child. You understand? So let's say for example we have okay, I'll give the example of that later as we progress in our lecture. You understand? We're gonna be meeting on how we're gonna be seeing on how to work on that. Let me just quickly give explanation on how what these things are and how they are being used. So practically we're gonna be experiencing it as we progress in our future series, future lecture series. So another one here we're gonna be talking about this the third one, which is a descendant. 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 Let me say descendant. What are descendant? Descendant. Okay, let me first of all give the syntax. Sorry, the syntax is selector, selector, space, selector. You can see the differences here. The difference is the first one is group. The group has a comma, is comma separated. The second one is child. It is what, greater than sign separated, and this one is descendant, is space separated. Let's say we have a color, say white. We have a color white. You understand? So this is using this kind of CSS. This aspect, this pattern of combining selector is using an ancestor to target a descendant selector. You understand? So it is differentiated by leaving a single space, which I have just done, between the selectors. You understand? Between the selectors, so there is a space here. So it's typically showing that, okay, fine, we are using an ancestor to target what is a descendant. So another one is another, okay, let's say we want to deal with these three, but let me just give the fourth one. The fourth one is chaining selector. Let me say chaining selector. Let me give another one. Say chaining selector. This chaining selector, what it does is this. Or let me first of all give the syntax. I don't know why I'm always forgetting. So let's say selector, selector, selector. Yeah, there is no space. Let me give it a color of, say, green. Let me say color of green. Now look at this one. There is no space in between the two selectors. You understand? One, there is a space, which is a descendant. The previous one before now, there is a kind of greater than sign, is separated, and the first one, which is group, is what, comma separated. So in the chaining selector, there is no separation between the two selectors. You see that no space, no comma, nothing. The purpose of chaining is to be specific. You understand? Is to what? To be specific. Let's say for example, let's say for example you have something like, say for example, maybe you have something like h1. Let's say we have an h1, and the h1 has an attribute of, say, id equals, say, let's say it has an id of, say, title, for example, of, say, title, and it has a class as well in same as it has another attribute, say class, say it has a class of, say, heading, for example. It has a class of heading. You understand? So let's say hello world, hello world. You understand? So it has this. Now in the CSS of this will be like, to use chaining selector, you'll be like, say, you have, say, let me say h1, let's say that's the first selector. You understand? So here there won't be space in between. So to target ID on in CSS, you have to use what? A pound sign, which is the hash key. You understand? So what is the value of the ID attribute? We have what? Title. You understand? Then we have what again? We have to target the class, which is dot. Remember how to target a class? We have dot. So we have, say, heading. You understand? You can have more than one selectors in all these things. In all these things. I'm just using two. You can have more than two. You can have more than. You understand? In each of these. So you will see here I'm using in this selector, which is the chaining selector. I'm using three selectors here. I'm targeting the elements, I'm targeting the ID, and I'm also targeting the class. You understand? So we can now say please say color green. So the essence of this is to what? Is to the purpose of chaining is to be what? Specific. You will see that this is more what? Specific. It is more specific. So I think that is that as to chaining selector, or that is that as to combining selector. It's a very short lesson. Combining selector is a very short lesson. So after now, we're gonna be dealing with CSS positioning and all stuff. So let me quickly do some practical. Let's do one or two things so as for us to apply what we've learned in the past on CSS as practical. Look at today we're gonna be creating buttons. Let me say HTML. Sorry, HTML. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I'm in the CSS. HTML. Well, please. Let me collapse this. I don't need this. I don't need this. So I'm going to be referencing I'm going to be using an external CSS. So what's the name of my CSS? Index.css. So I don't need to do an absolute referencing because they are on the same hierarchical level in the file tree. If you can remember, I don't need this. So let me create a button. What kind of button should I create? Okay, let me first of all create the element, say button. Let me see what we can create, kind of button we can create. Let's say okay, let me go to say let me go to Barcelona on YouTube. Let me go to Barcelona on YouTube, FC Barcelona. I don't think I've subscribed to them. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's create this subscribe button. You understand? Let's create this subscribe button. Sorry, I'm not promoting any page here. I'm just trying to, it's for educational purpose. So let's promote this. Let's create this kind of subscribe button. Let's start with let this be for CSS practical. Let's see how we can look at something and be creative from what we are seeing. So let's create this subscribe button. So the first thing to do is okay, let's create subscribe. subscribe. Let's go live and see what it's giving us. Okay, I think this is subscribe button, but it's not looking anyway like what we saw here. It's not looking anyway. Okay, let me just screen grab it so that I can stop viewing. Okay, so okay, yes. Okay, so okay, okay, so I can stop viewing the, so let's see. Okay, oh, I still need to go there anyways. Okay, let's create something like this. Okay, so let's go to our CSS. Let's go to our CSS. Let's go to our CSS. Let's say, let's give it an ID. Let's give it an ID. ID, say BTN. Let's give it a button ID. So, okay. Let's say we have let's give it a background of, say, the first thing first is to target a selector. You understand? So let me target an element here. Let me target an element. You can target your ID, but I'm going to target my element. The first thing first is, if you take a look at the subscribe button, it has a black background. You understand? So if you are giving a background color, you are targeting the environment, the background of that thing you're trying to style. So let's say background color. Okay, IntelliSense has given us a clue. So let's say I want to say let me say RGB 00, sorry, 000. You understand? So RGB 000 is black. You can decide, you can remove it if you don't understand this, but let me quickly explain what RGB is. You can decide to say black. It's the same thing. You understand? Or I think the standard is RGB. You understand? So give it an RGB. If you say black, it's still fine. It's no problem. You can do that. But I will need to explain what an RGB is for you. Let me explain what an RGB means. An RGB, which stands for RGB, stands for red. It stands for red, green, and what, and blue. You understand? And it's a color model. You understand? It's a color model that is used in digital media to represent colors by specifying the intensity of these three primary colors, which is red, green, blue. You understand? So in the RGB color model, colors are created by mixing varying amounts of red, green, and blue light. You understand? So it's a fundamental color model used in computer graphics. It is also used in digital displays and web design. So each color in the RGB model is represented as a combination of three values, typically ranging from, say, 0 to 255. Yeah, yes. So which represent the intensity of each primary color. Now let me explain how it works here. Now this red, yeah, it controls the amount of red light in the color. You understand? So 0 means no red, and 255 means full intensity red. Like, say, okay, like this, say when I say something like this, when I say RGB, RGB, say 0, no, sorry, let me say 255 0 0. You understand? So this means full intensity red. You understand? So all red. If I say 0 255 0, that means full intensity green. You understand? Full intensity green, which controls the amount of green light in the color. So if I say 00255, this controls the amount of blue light in the color, which means 0 no blue and 255 means full intensity blue. You understand? So for example, when you say for example, pure red will be like this, and pure green will be 02550, and of course pure blue will be 00255. You understand? So mixing these colors can give various combination which produces a wide range of colors. You understand? So that is that. So if I say no, if I say 0 0 0, it will result in all black. You understand? What if I say 255 255 255? What if I say 255? You see that all full red the moment I wrote 255. When I say 255, you have another color, yellow, and I'll say 255 again. I say white. You understand? So all 255 means white. So that's that about RGB. I hope we understand that. So 0 0 0, we give what? A black background. So another thing we saw in that our subscribe button is the text is written in white, which is subscribe. The subscribe text is written in white. So what do we do? What do we do about that? You say color. You can say color equals white. So whenever you say color, you are referring to what? Text color. You understand? So text color. So let's see how that is. Let's see what that is doing. Let's see how that works. Let's see how it's working in practical. Collapses, then let me go live. So we have this. You understand? Let me zoom out. But the problem is, the first problem you notice there is that it has a border. You will see the border. You understand? And of course it's nothing close to what we have here. You understand? So it's nothing close to what we have here. You understand? Look at, so distinct. But we're gonna see what we can do to make this look like this exactly. So the next thing to do here is to first of all get rid of this border. So how do we do that? We can simply say border is set to what? None. Border is set to none. Let's see. Border is set to none. Okay, so the border is removed. You understand? You see that the border is removed. Then another thing we should notice is that for in as much as the border is removed, a text is so close to is taking a lot of space inside of the button. You understand? It's not looking spacious as it is here. So what do we do? The next thing to do is to check the height, the width, and of course to see, of course the width, can I say, okay, let's work on the height and the width. You understand, the height is from here to here and the width is from here to here, so that there will be a bit space between the text and the content and the margin. So let's see how that is working. We have let's say height. Let's give it a height of say let's give it a height of say 36. Okay, let's say 36. This is, and let's give it a width of, let's give it a width of say 102. No, okay, let's say 105. Let's say 105 pixel, of course. Let's say pixel. Let's say, yeah, let's say pixel. You understand? Let's say pixel. Let's say pixel. Okay. Let's say pixel. Let's say pixel. Let's say pixel. Okay. Okay. So this is what we're trying to talk about, but it's looking like this because I zoomed out. So let me try to zoom in a bit. You'll see what I'm talking in practical. You see? You understand? So it's looking somewhat not looking similar to what we have here, simply because I'm zooming out. So by zooming in, you will see that it's taking a good shape, just like this. You understand? So next thing for us to do is to, let me zoom out so that we can, okay, next thing for us to do is to you see the edges of our button is sharp. You understand? It's sharp, just like blade. You know why this is looking more like capsule. This is looking more like capsule. So how do we correct this? Okay, that now takes us to another property. We can now say we can have a property like say border radius. Border radius. So the border radius, we can set it to say in this case, let me use percentage. Okay, let's say 50%. No, 50% will be too much. Let me say 25%. Let me say 25%. Let me see. Let's see how this is working. Ouch! What's this? This is not looking like something. Okay, let's say let me say 25 pixel. Let me use pixel. Yeah, let's say I think this is more like it. Let me zoom in. Okay, let me see. I think it's looking more like it. Yes, I think this is fine. I think this is okay. This is better. So that is that. Now if you go to, let me go to the VS Code. Now if you go to YouTube, you'll be seeing our cursor. If you go to YouTube, if you want to subscribe to a channel, you'll see that its cursor is always pointing, is always showing hand. You know, it's always showing a finger, a kind of pointing finger. You understand? Like an accusing finger. You understand? Like you get. So when you hover on the button, on the subscribe button, it shows the kind of finger. But in our own case, we are not having that. simply because we are not having that. It's just so to have that effect, we can, of course, we use CSS. We can use CSS. And how do we do it? What do we do here? We can simply say cursor. You can say cursor. We can say cursor. We can set our cursor to pointer. You understand? You can set our cursor to pointer. So by setting the cursor to pointer, our cursor will now be pointing rather than, rather than the arrow just hovering without any effect. So let's see how that is working in practical. Yes, I think this is working. This is working now. So another thing to take note of is, if you go to, I don't want to open a YouTube, I don't want to open someone else's YouTube page. You understand? So what I want you to do now is go to YouTube, or whenever you are on YouTube, or whenever you want to subscribe to a button, you will see that when the mouse is over on the subscribe button. Okay, let me just go to Barcelona. I don't want to go to, let me see, okay, let me just go to I don't want to go to okay, except I open an incognito mode. I don't want to do that. So let's go to, okay, let's forget about it. But when you hover on a button in YouTube, there's this, let me show you what I'm trying to talk about. Let's say let me see, now. Let me see if Technocraft. Okay, let me see if Technocraft Academy. Okay, it's not there. Okay, let me see. Let me go to okay, let me go to Sabino's let me go to Sabino's YouTube. Yes, okay, let me go to Sabino's YouTube. We all like Sabino's, don't we? So okay, so I'm going to subscribe anyways. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. So when you go to, I'm not intending to do anything here. I'm just, it's for educational purpose. So that's Sabino's, please don't be angry. So you just, when you hover on it, you will see that it changes effect. You see that it changes effect. You see that it becomes, it fades in. You know, the moment I remove the cursor, you know, the fading in disappears. The moment I move the cursor on it, it fades in. You understand? So let me subscribe to Sabino's. I'm not promoting Sabino's, but I made use of his YouTube channel to educate you. So I'm also obliged him by subscribing. Okay, that said, so that being said, let's go back to our, so we gotta have that, we are going to be to implement that effect on our subscribe button. So how do we do that? What property will I use to achieve that? So there's something called opacity and transition. Opacity, let me see, opacity, let me see, I want to set my, I'm going to explain what opacity is. Let me see, I want to set my opacity to 1, and I want to set my transition to say just say 0.3 seconds, 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds. Yes, I think I have to target, okay, 0.3 seconds. Okay, let me target the class there, the ID. Did I give it an ID? I think let me okay, I gave it an ID of, let me change the class. It doesn't matter whatever you use, I just want to use the class. Let's say btn over btn over, then I want to create let's say btn over, I want to say opacity of 0.6, opacity of 0.6. Yes, now let's first of all see how it's working in practical, then I'll give an explanation on what opacity and transition is. Okay, this works, but it's not as sharp as that of Sabino's own. You understand? It's not as sharp, and I think this is a bit fast. So what you will do is, as the task I'll give you is now that I don't want this. I will explain what opacity and transition is, but I want it to be to transition so slowly rather than it being so instantaneous here. You understand? I want it to be so slowly rather than it being instantaneous. You see that this is so instantaneous, it has to be slowly. Okay, now let me explain what opacity and transition is. The concept or the term opacity, it's a property that controls the transparency of an element. It determines how much an element should be see-through. You understand? It determines the opacity. This is what I'm explaining. It determines how much an element should be see-through or transparent, with values ranging from 0, which is completely transparent, to 1, which is completely opaque. When I mean opaque, this is what I mean. Opaque. You know, so when it is 1, it is completely what? Opaque. Now, elements with lower opacity values will allow the content behind them to show through. You understand? While elements with higher opacity values will obscure the content behind them. You understand? So, which is this example that I gave here? Yeah, I think this is of high opacity. You understand? So then the concept of transition, the transition property is used to control how changes in CSS properties are animated, over time. It allows you to specify a smooth transition effect between the original state of an element and its new state when certain properties change. You understand? So you can define the duration of the transition, the property being transition, the timing function that determines the transition's acceleration, and more. So of course, the example I gave here is what is this example here is I wrote transition here, which shows the time. You understand? The frequency, the time of transition. You can determine the duration of transition, the time of transition. Like I said, I can decide to say I want my transition to, when over on, I want it to change to another color. Let's say I want it to change to red. Let's say the background color should change to red if over on. Let's say, let's be creative here. Let's say okay, when you over on it, I want it to change to, I want the background color to change to, say, red, for example. You understand? I want it to change to red when I over on it. So let's see, that is it. You understand? So that is just what transition does, and of course what, you understand. So I think we are really having a practical this thing gradually. You understand? So when I hover on it, it shows that it changes to red. I want to give you an assignment. Let it change to green. You understand? Let it change to green. That's the first assignment. And of course, screenshot it as you hover on it, as it changes to green. Screenshot it and send, of course, caption it with your name and stuff. So don't think we are not taking note of all those things that you are submitting. As you are submitting, we are writing your names and whatever information you give. That is that. So that is that. And I think let's create one more button. Let me create one more button. Let me create a kind of join button. Let me create a join button. Let me return this to where it was. Yeah, let's create a join button. Let's create another button. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So let's create a join button. Let's call it join. Join. Let's see if that works. Join. Do you know why when I created the join button, it automatically take the same shape with this? It's basically because I have given it the same class, which is dangerous. I've given it, the same attribute is on the button, the same button attribute, class btn. So what I'm trying to say here is all the CSS that is applied to the subscribe button will also be what applied to it. So the moment I say I change this to say join button excuse me, the moment I say join button, I think it should change. Let's see. Okay, wait. I still have I'm still targeting the join button. Okay, this is what I will do. Instead of targeting that, I can target the class here. I can target the class and say btn. So the moment I do that, it went back to its default shape. You understand? So how do we make this join button? How do we make it look more like a join button, or like the normal join button that you've seen, or you might have seen maybe wherever? Maybe it could be Facebook, it could be anywhere. Let's see how we can. It could be Twitter and stuff like that. So let's see. Let's target the join button. Let's target the join button. Let's say join. Let's say join button. Squiggly bracket. Let's say we have the background color. We have the background color. We give it a, let's give it white. No. Okay, let's give it white. Which is the same thing as RGB 255. You understand? I want you to use RGB in your own case. Then let's give it a border color. Let's give it a border color. Okay, let's give it a border color. Let's see, the border color, say let me give it RGB this time. RGB, say 41. Let's see 118. Let's say 211. Yes. And mind you, you don't need to memorize anything here. You understand? Programming is not about, coding is not about memorizing. You understand? So you just have to understand. You see that all those things are just direct. You understand? And CSS is treating each of those code line by line. You understand? Now this border, this border color, this RGB I just made use of. You might be wondering, how did I know that it will give me this color? No, I've done a lot of trial and error, mind you. You understand? So keep doing a lot of trial and error to see, okay, this color, and of course, VS Code is equipped or has given us the privilege of having a color picker. You can just say this is a color picker here. You see, from this color picker, you can just choose your, when you over on it, when you choose, if I click on this, move it, it will change the RGB. So the color picker is just by clicking on this. You understand? And of course, you select your color without issues. So let's see what this gives us. Okay, I don't know, let's see if there's an error there. Oh, sorry, let's say join btn. Okay, this should work. Okay, join btn. So there's a lot of there are a lot of weird things here. Something is going on wrong here. Let's zoom out a bit. You will see that the borderline from here to here is taking the color that we set to it, and from here to here is showing a kind of darker color. And of course, we want this text to be what to have. We want this text to have to be in what to take this color, then we don't want our edges, our borders, the border edge to have a kind of sharp pointed edge like this. You understand? We want it to be a bit round. You understand? So let's see how we can implement that. Let's say we have something like this. Say border. You can say border radius, of course. You can say border radius to be, say, no, before that, let me say border style to get rid of that multicolor showing on the border. So we can set that to, say, solid. You can set that to solid. Then the border width, because we need to make it look a bit bigger and a bit wider rather. So let's say width, you can set that to, say, 1 pixel. I think 1 pixel will be fine. And of course the text color, you can say the text color should be, say, let's say let me, of course, since we are using the same RGB, you can say RGB these. You understand? Then of course honest, let's say the height, so as to take the same height with our, let's say 36 pixel, and let's say width, let's say width 62 pixel. Let me give it 62 pixel. Then let's say, of course, border radius to get rid of that sharp edge. Border radius, we can give it 2 pixel. Then of course our cursor should also have pointer. Cursor should have pointer. Should point. Okay, let's see what this will give us. Okay, let me No, so good. Okay, I think this is fine. Okay, I want to implement I want to implement okay, let's do something very creative here. Let's do it in such a way that when we hover on it, it should we should have an opacity set to the background of blue and the text set to the color of white. You understand? Let's do something creative with the opacity and stuff like that. Let's say we want to have let's set the opacity to say okay, let's have it, let's give it the same opacity here. Let's give it the same opacity. Copy. Let's see. Let's put it there. Let's say so when we hover on it will, but of course we need to target the join button. So here we can join button. So we're targeting join button here. So here we'll say background should change to blue. Background color should change to say blue. Change to no, it should change to, we don't want blue, it should change to this RGB. Change to this RGB, and of course the text color should change to white. So when we hover on it, which is fair enough, the text color, so that's color should change to white. So let's see if that works. Okay, let's see. Oh, and of course this is fine, this is good. So the text here, the assignment here is this. I don't want this space between I don't want this space between create more space between here and here. That is the first assignment. That's these two buttons, the subscribe button and the join button. You understand? Create space between here and here. Then another thing I would want you to do is create a tweet button. You understand? A tweet button that when you hover on it, it will fade in. You understand? Just like this. When you hover on it, it will fade in, and of course okay, when you hover on it, it will fade in, and the tweet button should have this color, this join color. Now this join button color, that is, the tweet should be written in should have tweets like uppercase T, lowercase w, and the rest of the alphabet are lowercase. The first alphabet, the T, is uppercase, and of course should be written in white, and let the text be bold a bit. You understand? Let the text be bold, and of course let it have the same shape like this, but the color of this, but the same shape like this. That's a tweet button. You understand? Let it have the same shape like this subscribe button, and let it have the color of this join button. Let it have the text color of this join. You understand? So it should have this blue, this RGB, this blue. It should have this color of this join, but the T must be in uppercase. The W, E, and T, which is the last T, will be in lowercase. So it will be like tweet, uppercase T, lowercase W, lowercase E, and lowercase T. You understand? And let it have this shape like this. So when you hover on it, it fades in, you understand, and when you remove this thing, it becomes normal. So let it fades in blue, you understand, let it have this blue color. So when you hover on it, instead of it to disappear like we have in this join button, and then create a space between here and, you understand, and that. So that brings us to the conclusion of today's class. The next class will now be talking about CSS position. We're going to be talking about different kind of positions: static, relative, absolute, and fixed positions. We move towards a more advanced concept, say display properties and stuff. So I think then display properties, inline block, then we'll move to media queries, we move to CSS grid, CSS flexbox, external frameworks, like, you understand, external frameworks. Then we deal with flexbox type separately, so as to also have more advanced concept. Then you talk about CSS grid too, separately, so as to for us to have more advanced. But then that will now bring us to the conclusion of CSS. Then we move towards JavaScript, which we have been waiting for all along. So thank you for attending this lecture, and feel free to click the like button, share the lecture so that other people can get it. Then if you are yet to subscribe, feel free to do that and click our notification button so as for you to get informed of new lectures. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day. Thank you very much.